Hey y'all, it's Joanna, aka Millennial Thermom here. I just wanted to post my first official video besides the intro. So first official content video. And today, because that 0 to 3 range, a lot of people don't think about it, but the parents are going through their own shifts, also their own mood stuff, their own mental health. So I wanted to just spend a little bit of time, a few minutes, 5, 6 minutes is my guess, but we'll see how it goes. Talking about perinatal mental health. So, perinatal mental health is that time from pregnancy. Officially, it's up to a year after birth, but in reality, it really can be those first couple years. Research even says that sometimes that when perinatal mental health symptoms come up early on and they aren't treated, the symptoms can linger. So I definitely want to just expose you all to the information. I'm not going to go too in depth, but I am going to share some resources that I have on my website so that you all can have it. You all can look at it, and I will probably be doing a follow up. But this is just again intro. So let me share my screen. This is the wrong one, but I will go into the, well, actually, let me just talk about it now. But Postpartum Support International is a great resource talking about perinatal mental health. So if you go to PSI, oh, sorry, postpartum support, postpartum.net. There you go. If you go on this website, you'll find the helpline, which is really dedicated to helping people within that perinatal period just get some support, get some resources. They also have listed free support groups. So right here, online support groups, and have a bunch of information. But within the support groups, you'll see a variety of topics. So we'll just see. There you go. So ADHD support, birth mom support, birth trauma support, birth trauma for BIPOC, Black Moms Connect, fertility challenges, mindfulness, NICU. There's just so many resources, and healing really does happen in communities. So even if like after today's little video, you're like, and that might be me, but I don't know if I can afford a therapist right now or whatever might be happening. You can always just test out one of these groups. It's free, it's virtual, and they have different times that different groups happen on. Just a little word of advice. I have joined a couple, and I definitely recommend just joining a few minutes earlier because some of them do cap at a certain amount of people. But I definitely wanted to share this with y'all. It's great. It's a great resource. So if you go onto my website, that's me, and you go to freebies, you'll see that I've linked. Basically, these three are all within the same document. So I'm just going to, again, briefly overview it, but PMADs, or perinatal mood and anxiety disorders, refer to that perinatal period. Up to 20% of women and 10% of new fathers experience a mood or anxiety disorder. There are a lot of things that go into it. It's not your fault if you are feeling any of these. A lot of things are just like the hormone dips, or just like the lack of sleep, or this whole shift in like, oh my gosh, there's this little being I'm supposed to keep alive. How does that not cause anxiety, right? So I definitely am grateful that throughout my own postpartum journey, those first few weeks or roller coaster, but I love my podcast, which Mom Well is a podcast that I listen to, and just hearing about this really helped validate, like, yes, I am feeling that, or like, no, I'm not feeling that, and just help me take better care of myself, because I knew how important it was for me to take care of me so that I could take care of my babies. And again, this doesn't just apply to the birthing person. It could apply to any of the partners that are within that little roller coaster tornado. So just as a little overview, postpartum post-traumatic stress disorder is one related usually to birth trauma. There is pregnancy and postpartum anxiety, and that includes panic attacks and just difficulty controlling worry, among others. Pregnancy and postpartum depression, which can be feelings of anger, sadness, irritability, etc., like kind of feeling that emptiness or something's not right. for some people. Pregnancy and postpartum OCD. So that's when we have intrusive, unwanted thoughts, and it's difficult to control them. And so we do a behavior to try to calm that anxiety. So it could be checking, it could be cleaning the bottles a certain amount of times. Postpartum psychosis. So this is when we hear voices or images that aren't there, sometimes hallucinations, but also delusions, like my baby is a demon, and I need to make sure that I help get this demon out of them. So that's like one of, not common, but it's one, could be a delusion. And bipolar mood disorders, which sometimes are misdiagnosed as depression, but they have a mania component. So episodes of maybe an episode of high energy or not needing to sleep. So these are just an overview. Again, I'm not here talking to you as your therapist. I'm here talking to you as someone who just wants to share this information. Related to therapists, though, if hopefully you have a medical provider and you are thinking, I might have some of this going on in my life. Know that is normal and you deserve to get help. You deserve to feel like yourself again. And you will, you definitely will. But there are things that can help you improve that and know that you don't have to do it alone. So please advocate for yourself. You can print this off. This has some of the symptoms that might be common. So again, I'm not going to go too far into it, but there's some symptoms. These are some risk factors that could help, have these things come to life for you in your life. And then some treatment options, which counseling and therapy, which if you're privileged enough to access that, I definitely recommend it. The PSI even has a directory on there for people who have mental health, perinatal mental health certification. But honestly, even if you go onto a portal like Psychology Today, Grow, Alma, what else is there? Therapy for Black girls, Latinx therapy. You can go in there, and during that call with the therapist, you can ask like, hey, what's your experience working with perinatal mental health? How would you help address this symptom? Ask those questions. I know it can be a little like daunting, but they want to help you. I'm a therapist, and I always appreciate when people ask me questions. So you should definitely get a therapist who appreciates you asking questions. There's also support groups, which I mentioned in the postpartum website. And then here are just some basic resources. One thing that I think is really cool is like, if you are on a journey where you think medication might help unfog some of the thoughts and like the cloudiness that you're experiencing, and your doctor is like, no, we can't do that. Know that there are medications that are safe for breastfeeding, for pregnancy, and you really have to, with your provider, do the pros and cons of like, does the pros of this taking medication outweigh the cons or the risks, right? Or of not taking it. So then that's on you. But if your doctor wants to talk to somebody about perinatal medications or psychiatric medications during the perinatal period, they can call this number and speak with the reproductive psychiatrist. So that's cool. And then last but not least, this is a perinatal mental health care plan. Again, this is for any partner involved in the raising of this newborn, this new baby. I got the information from Bombwell and also Perinatal Services, and I just kind of remixed it to make it my own. But NEST is a framework that is meant to help take care of ourselves so that we can take care of those around us if we choose. It's really aimed at, again, supporting the main areas that contribute to mental health and wellness. So nutrition, exercise and movement, sleep and rest, time for self support, and then really committing to an action item. Each of these sections will ask you, on a scale of 1, poor to 10, great, I am at a blop in this area. What would help increase it by 1 point? So for example, nutrition, I know it can be hard to find a time to eat, especially during those first few months where you're just like, breastfeeding or pumping or bottle feeding or whatever feeding, and then they were crying, you can't put them down, you're like, when am I supposed to cook? um, I was just sharing with some people in my life that literally a few days ago was the first time where I met my own needs first before my baby. So I ate first. Like I woke up before her. And that was like mind blown to me. But it just goes to show you how little things like that can be helpful. So in this, what could help increase it by 1 point? It could be having snacks next to me, asking my partner to go to the store and get some snacks that I could put in the little, where I feed. So that's just one example. I do plan to go in a little bit more around these, perinatal mental health in future videos. But for now, I just wanted to give a little introduction video. I probably did go longer than I thought I would. But I hope that this was helpful. If you have anybody in your life who is in that perinatal period, offer to come over and drop off some food, or send them delivery, or wash their dishes. I think a lot of well-meaning people are like, oh, I'll go over and hold the baby. But I remember personally, like during those first few months, I wanted to be with my baby. I wanted to snuggle. What was stressing me out was the dishes that weren't done, or not cooking, not having food to cook, not being able to do the laundry. So little things like that. So yeah, y'all doing great. If you're in that period now, you will get your sleep back. You will get your food back. You will, figure out your new identity. Just give yourself a lot of compassion and grace. And yeah, hope that was helpful. Bye, y'all.